It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived by whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. And this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child, in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. The angels, not half so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above, nor the demons down under the sea, can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and so, all the night tide, I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in the sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. Lifeless corpses, fractured leaves dancing through the streets, murder, and gloomy ancestral estates retaining secrets are images and themes scattered throughout the works of Edgar Allan Poe. Yet, despite the fantastical features of his work, Poe often incorporated elements of his personal tragedies into his own short stories and poems. Annabel Lee, Poe's final poem, concerns a narrator in mourning as his romantic partner was killed by angels envious of the seemingly immortal love shared by the two lovers. Composed, the narrator proceeds to profess his love to his deceased partner, and boldly states that nothing can sever their unbridled romance. Whilst an iconic poem, Annabel Lee is embroiled in personal tales of tragedy, making it easily Poe's most autobiographical and tragic, as the character of Annabel Lee is symbolic of two different women who retained major roles in Poe's life, yet he had collectively lost. The two women are Virginia Clem, Poe's marital partner who passed away at a very young age, and Sarah Elmira Royster Shelton, a woman Poe had strived to marry prior to his death. To begin, by the age of 27, Poe had married his 13-year-old cousin, Virginia Clem. Preceding the marriage, Poe and Clem lived within the same residence as simple family members, with Poe often referring to Clem as Sis and Sissy, though such terms of endearment soon transitioned to increasingly more intimate terms, as Poe had gradually fallen in love with her. Though earning a meager monthly income, Poe would allocate his money towards the enlargement of Clem's intellect, allowing for her enrollment and participation in academic and musical classes. Ultimately, Clem had experienced a hemorrhage from tuberculosis in her throat while singing for her darkly husband at the age of 20. A tragic event that greatly compromised Clem's health until her ill-timed death shortly thereafter. Subsequently, Poe stated, "This evil was the greatest that can befall a man. Each time I felt all the agonies of her death, and at each accession of the disorder I loved her more dearly." As Poe struggled to endure the challenging loss of the woman he had relished, his love had only grown stronger. Similarly, the narrator's mental strife within the poetic lines of Annabel Lee reflects the grief undergone by Poe, resulting from Clem's death. In Annabel Lee, Poe describes the culprits behind Lee's death. The angels, not so happy in heaven, went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know, in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. Poe's immediate reaction to Clem's passing, stating that her death was an evil that befell him, is reflected through the narrator's insistence that the angels of deep envy had taken Lee's life when the young love between the narrator and Annabel Lee was strongest. Moreover, 2 years after Clem's passing, Poe had fallen in love with a woman whom he strongly desired named Sarah Elmira Royster Shelton. In July 1849, Poe had initiated a marriage proposal to Shelton, of which her children promptly disapproved of in protest. Poe had distributed an abundance of affectionate thought and consideration towards Shelton, though Shelton displayed reluctance towards the idea of marrying Poe. In time, Shelton had agreed to the proposal, with Poe gleefully traversing to New York to secure employment to support Shelton and her children. Nevertheless, Poe would be found dead 2 months later under peculiar circumstances. However, Poe's willingness to marry following the melancholic and catastrophic loss of Clem remains demonstrative of Poe's powerful lust for care and acceptance. Within the haunting lines of Annabel Lee, Poe constructs a narrator with a similar semblance of naivety and idealistic longing embedded within Poe himself. But our love it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. While Poe's loving attitudes towards Shelton were inherently juvenile and naive, the narrator claims that his shared love with Annabel Lee was a love more powerful than the love held by those older and wiser than them, with such love being inseparable. It should also be noted that another poem which Poe wrote, titled Ulalume, concerns the grief experienced as a result of the death of Virginia Clem. Yet Annabel Lee evidently derives from personal trials stemming from other than the loss of Clem. In the final analysis, Annabel Lee features a narrator sharing an intrinsic similarity with Poe himself, as the narrator longs for a partner that had been killed by angels. Likewise, Poe had endured the loss of his wife, Virginia Clem, which proved to be a loss of deep sorrow and the adamance of Poe's belief that her loss was a product of evil, in a similar fashion to the evil act of ending Annabel Lee's life on the part of the angels. In addition, Poe's naive and quick love towards Shelton, another woman, demonstrated Poe's innate lusting for a powerful love that he never received, as illustrated by the narrator's insistence that his love with Annabel Lee was a love that was more than love.